Sunny Hostin, her husband accused of committing federal insurance fraud in a lawsuit.
If you average out the View hosts, among the dumbest people on television.
Sunny's dumb. Certainly not the brightest person. And what she just said just doesn't make any sense. It's just like so silly to say.
Let me tell you, this story has everything. Legal drama, shocking accusations, and what might be the biggest scandal to hit daytime television this year. Picture this. Police raids, mountains of cash discovered, and a husband caught up in what investigators are calling a full-blown RICO operation. I've got all the jaw-dropping details that'll make your head spin. The drama unfolding around Sunny has everyone talking, and once you hear what I've uncovered, you'll understand why. Grab your popcorn because this story is wilder than anything you could imagine.
Let Sunny get in here.
I mean, I agree with mostly everything that's been said. I mean, we know that, only about 31% of Americans trust our healthcare system. We have a terrible healthcare system. And, doctors suffer because of big corporations as well. Doctors that want to do good, like my husband, operates on someone even though they don't have insurance and then has to sue health insurance companies to get paid for the work that he's been trained his whole life to do.
Oh my goodness, where do I even begin? If you haven't been keeping up with this scandalous saga, let me catch you up to speed. Dr. Emmanuel Hostin, Sunny's husband, isn't just facing some minor legal trouble. He's been named in a massive lawsuit alongside nearly 200 others by American Transit, one of the biggest insurance companies out there. We're talking allegations of fraud that'll make your jaw drop, kickbacks, shady billing schemes, and get this, unnecessary surgeries. The insurance company claims this wasn't just a one-time thing. They say this went on for years. Legal experts are comparing this to something straight out of a mafia movie, calling it the biggest RICO case New York has seen since the mob days. Can you believe it? But here's where it gets even juicier. Sunny herself is now caught in the crosshairs of this legal nightmare. And let me tell you something. For someone who's built her entire career on being outspoken about controversies on The View, her defense is raising eyebrows. She's claiming she had absolutely no idea what was happening in her own husband's business. I mean, seriously, she makes a living as a commentator, yet somehow missed all these red flags right under her nose? The lawsuit paints a picture that'll send chills down your spine. We're not talking about one doctor who went rogue. No, no, no. This is allegedly an organized fraud ring that took advantage of New York's no-fault insurance laws. The accusations against Dr. Hostin are shocking, providing fake medical services, performing unnecessary surgeries, all while the money just kept rolling in. And hold on to your seats because it gets even worse. Under RICO laws, the damages could triple. We're talking billions. But money might be the least of their worries because if convicted, Dr. Hostin could spend the rest of his life behind bars. Don't think Sunny's walking away from this unscathed either. The whispers around town suggest she might have played a bigger role than she's letting on. Some say she helped move money around, keeping it hidden from investigators. The irony here is absolutely delicious. Before she became a media personality, Sunny was a federal prosecutor. Can you imagine? Someone who built their career upholding the law might have used that very knowledge to help cover up financial fraud. One report claims she helped Emmanuel funnel money through shell companies, using legal loopholes to keep transactions off the radar. Another suggests she acted as a middleman, making sure the cash stayed untraceable. The whole thing reads like a script from a crime drama. But wait until you hear who the alleged victims were. Taxi drivers, Uber drivers, and Lyft drivers. They're saying Dr. Hostin targeted these hardworking people, performing unnecessary surgeries and billing for fake medical procedures just to line his pockets. It's absolutely shocking. The biggest scandal here? The glaring contradiction between Sunny's public persona and these allegations. On The View, she's always been the first one to call out corruption, demanding accountability, positioning herself as this crusader for justice. Yet now she's being accused of the very things she's spent years condemning. The critics are having a field day with this one, and honestly, if even a fraction of these allegations turns out to be true, this could be the end of Sunny Hostin's career as we know it.
Sunny Hostin, who I think is truly the nastiest woman on television and a genuine racist and not that bright, despite her law degree and everything else.
The public reaction has been absolutely brutal. People are demanding Sunny step down from The View, saying her credibility is completely shot. I mean, how can she sit there criticizing politicians and public figures when she's allegedly been covering up illegal activities in her own home? Now, some level-headed folks are trying to remind everyone that these are just allegations for now, saying Sunny deserves the presumption of innocence. But let's be real, the court of public opinion doesn't exactly operate on innocent until proven guilty, and right now, things are looking pretty grim for Sunny. The legal experts aren't painting a prettier picture either. They're warning that if investigators find even the tiniest shred of evidence connecting her to her husband's alleged fraudulent activities, she could face serious charges herself. We're not just talking about a PR nightmare anymore. We're talking prison time, financial ruin, and watching everything she's worked for crumble before her eyes. But wait, it gets even messier. People are starting to ask questions about how Sunny and Emmanuel really funded their lavish lifestyle. While they've never been the type to flaunt their wealth, reports suggest they own multiple high-end properties, including this gorgeous home in Westchester County. Now everyone's wondering, was any of this bought with fraudulent money? Were they living the high life at the expense of innocent victims? Here's another twist that'll make your head spin. American Transit is accusing Sunny of using her celebrity status to sway public opinion and discredit their lawsuit against her husband. They're saying she's been leveraging her platform to spin the narrative in her favor. But Sunny, she is not having it. She fired back with this absolutely scorching statement, accusing the insurance company of running a smear campaign against her family. She's insisting this lawsuit is nothing but a desperate attempt to avoid paying legitimate claims. The Hostins aren't just sitting back and taking it either. Their legal team, led by attorney Mark Gagos, sent this explosive letter to American Transit on January 12th, threatening a massive $5 million countersuit if they didn't withdraw their case and apologize. And get this, Gagos said the $5 million was just the starting point because they couldn't even begin to calculate the full extent of reputational damage. But critics aren't buying what Sunny's selling. They're saying her aggressive response is nothing but smoke and mirrors, a desperate attempt to shift focus away from the serious allegations against her husband and potentially herself. And let's be honest, this isn't some minor legal squabble. We're talking federal insurance fraud here, the kind of case that destroys careers, shatters reputations, and sends people to prison. With 200 defendants named in the case, this legal battle is going to drag on for years. We're looking at endless discovery processes, court filings, and legal maneuvers. Every single defendant is probably going to try to save their own skin, creating this massive web of finger-pointing, shifting alliances, and conflicting testimonies. Now here's where it gets really ironic. Just a few months ago, Sunny was throwing major shade at Melania Trump. Remember when Melania became First Lady for the second time? During a live broadcast, the ladies on The View went absolutely in on her. And it wasn't just your typical political jab, they went for the jugular. Someone suggested Melania wasn't exactly thrilled about being First Lady again, and things just spiraled from there.
I also think that she wants to take him out. She does not want to be the First Lady anymore. She doesn't want to sleep in the same room with him. She can't tolerate him.
The criticism was relentless. They mocked everything from her personal life to her White House redesigns, even dragged her Christmas traditions. They painted this picture of her as this reluctant First Lady who was just completely overwhelmed by the role. The accusations were piling up so thick, there wasn't even room for a hint of nuance. Well, Melania isn't one to take things lying down. She's hitting back with a $100 million defamation lawsuit. That's not pocket change, folks. She's arguing that these statements weren't just unfounded, they were deliberately damaging to her reputation. For Melania, this isn't about hurt feelings. It's about standing up against what she sees as calculated attacks on her dignity. But this isn't the first time Sunny's stirred up controversy with her comments. Remember when she offended millions by calling out uneducated white women for their voting patterns? She pointed to this statistic that 52% of them supported Trump. And as you can imagine, that comment went over like a lead balloon. But Sunny didn't back down. She doubled down. She went on to praise Black women for their pivotal role in elections, saying they tried to save this country again last night, while hailing Kamala Harris's campaign as flawless.
What we did not have is white women who voted about 52%, right, for Donald Trump. Uneducated white women, is my understanding. You have Latino men, actually, voting more for him.
And if you thought that was the end of it, hold on to your seats. Sunny wasn't done stirring the pot just yet. She went on this fiery rant about Latino men voting for Trump in higher numbers, calling it even harder to process. Talk about bold. Her remarks set the internet on fire, and not in a good way. This was more like a five-alarm blaze with opinions exploding on both sides. Sure, she had her supporters who applauded her for speaking truth to power, but the critics, they were out for blood. They accused her of sowing division, with some even calling her comments racist. And don't even get me started on the Trump supporters. They were absolutely livid. They felt Sunny had unfairly painted them in this horrible light, accusing them of things they didn't support. The fallout fallout was massive. The internet was practically split in half with everyone picking sides. But wait until you hear about The View's post-election episode. The mood was so heavy, you could cut it with a knife. Whoopi Goldberg and Joy Behar walked in dressed in all black, like they were attending a political funeral. Whoopi refused to even say Trump's name, while Joy, well, she didn't hold back. She flat out said she vehemently disagreed with the outcome. The whole episode felt less like a talk show and more like a political eulogy. Somber faces, impassioned speeches, the works.
So what happened last night? Anybody do anything interesting? Okay. The 2024 presidential race ended yesterday. And this is what the country and the world woke up to this morning. Take a look.
Just when you thought the drama with Sunny Hostin had cooled off, it heated right back up. In a recent episode of The View, she found herself in yet another controversy, and this time she set her sights on Senator John Fetterman. The View has always been a battleground for fiery debates and unfiltered commentary. It's practically their brand at this point. But this time, Sunny might have bitten off more than she could chew. She absolutely didn't hold back when discussing Fetterman's controversial visit to Mar-a-Lago. I mean, a Democrat stepping foot in Trump's territory? That's like walking into a lion's den wearing a steak suit. The visit alone had tongues wagging, but Sunny's commentary turned the heat up to scorching. She didn't just criticize the visit, she went all in, calling it a betrayal of democratic principles and questioning Fetterman's motives. Those words struck a nerve, and definitely not in a good way. Fetterman's camp was fuming, and social media, it absolutely exploded.
Let me ask you this, though. Since Trump's win, there's been a lot of soul-searching on the Democratic side, people needing answers on what went wrong. Do you think that is helpful, and do you think there should also be some soul-searching on the Republican side who need to analyze why they would nominate a convicted felon who ran on lies, threats of retribution, and concepts of a plan?
But the drama didn't stop there. Sunny found herself in yet another heated moment, this time right in the middle of The View live on air. What started as a panel discussion quickly turned into an explosive showdown between Sunny and her co-host Elisa Farah Griffin during the June 7th episode. The tension was so thick you could cut it with a knife. The ladies were deep in a political debate about the 2024 presidential race, discussing Mike Pence and Chris Christie entering the race. Things got intense between Elisa, one of the few Republicans on the panel, and the rest of the hosts. Sunny wasted no time calling out Elisa for what she saw as a major flip-flop, pointing out that Elisa had previously criticized Pence but was now defending him. That's when the sparks really started flying. The tension between them grew so thick that the conversation spiraled into a full-on shouting match. Elisa was clearly caught off guard, asking for a chance to speak, but Sunny just kept firing off her points, leaving Elisa visibly frustrated.
You are incapable of defending a man that you worked for. I don't need to hear more from Pence for several reasons. When I lived in Indiana and I went to Notre Dame, he had a terrible approval rating because of the way he treated the AIDS crisis. A lot of people died because of him. A lot of people died because of how he handled the COVID crisis.
Well, are you going to give me a chance to answer?
The truth.
This is not what the show is about.
I
want to answer my question.
You know what? I kind of feel like I need to go to break right now.
Now here's where it gets really interesting. Some people started accusing Sunny of acting like a narcissist, saying she only listened to her own opinion because she's a lawyer and thought her perspective was the only valid one. While many agreed she was in the wrong during this argument, it was hard to ignore that she didn't give Elisa a chance to speak at all. Some fans even went so far as to say Sunny's attitude bordered on bullying, feeling she dominated the conversation and made it impossible for Elisa to get a word in. With all this drama surrounding Sunny and her husband, whispers are starting to circulate that The View might be preparing to cut ties with her. Network executives are reportedly monitoring the situation closely, trying to gauge just how much damage this scandal could do to the show's reputation. While Sunny's still appearing on air, viewers have definitely noticed a shift in her demeanor. Her usual fiery, unfiltered commentary seems more guarded, and it's clear the weight of her personal and professional struggles is taking its toll. According to a recent court filing, things aren't looking good for Dr. Emmanuel Hostin. He's now standing practically alone, with most of the defendants in his case agreeing to settle. On January 27th, American Transit revealed that over 141 of the 186 defendants had reached settlements in principle, though they didn't name names. Dr. Hostin has until February 10th to respond to the legal complaint, and the pressure is mounting. The Hostin family lawyer, Mark Gagos, is fighting back hard, demanding an apology from American Transit and insisting they dismiss Dr. Hostin from the suit with prejudice. According to Gagos, the company's actions have severely damaged Dr. Hostin's reputation, and they should compensate him for the emotional distress caused to him and his family. Sunny's been fiercely defending her husband, blasting American Transit for what she calls a desperate attempt to avoid paying for medical procedures. She's pointing fingers at the company's past, noting they've been investigated by New York State and sued by Uber Technologies. But despite her adamant claims that her husband did nothing wrong, the reality seems far more complicated. The fact that federal authorities allegedly uncovered millions in their home tells a very different story, one that casts a long shadow over their public denials. Could this be just the tip of the iceberg? What if, in her attempt to protect her husband and family's reputation, Sunny's been playing a role in a much bigger game of deception than any of us realized? With every twist and turn, it's looking more and more like the Hostins' reality might not align with the version they've been so carefully crafting. The potential fallout is staggering. For The View, for her family, for her career. Can she keep up this front she's been building? Or will the mounting evidence start to unravel everything? What do you think? Could Sunny's defense of her husband be a smokescreen for deeper lies? Are we on the brink of exposing a much darker side to this story? Let us know in the comments below what you think about this mess, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for all the latest updates as this wild ride continues to get more twisted by the day.